Hi. Hi. My name's Pete. I'll be right back with you. I just didn't know if you needed a drink or...
I'd like some water, please.
Water? Okay.
A disturbed lady made a frantic call to 911 after being found grim in her teenage son's closet. "Can you just come, please? I think it's a human head," said was so terrifying at that moment. The very next moment, Colorado police came to that address and met with a scene of horror as they arrested then 19-year-old Brian Cohee for the brutal murder of a 69-year-old homeless man, Warren Barnes. A ghastly crime that occurred in 2021 that shocked the nation when the details of this murder emerged. The killer's heinous acts were dismemberment and the macabre storage of body parts in his parents' home. The 19-year-old boy had tried to dump the parts of the dead body by putting it in the trunk of his car and trying to drive the car into the Colorado River. During investigations, it was revealed that Cohee decapitated.
It kind of reminded you of violence because it came from the Halloween movie?
Yeah, it was here the brand. Yeah, it's a jumpsuit.
Dismembered and mutilated Barnes before placing his head and hands in plastic bags.
Right, here's a leg. Well, it could be the upper arm or a leg.
Well, there's three. There, and there.
He took these parts home and stored them in his closet. Cohee's mother, Terry, came to his son's room to clean it, but a harrowing discovery shocked her. That was a human head. During the investigation, she told to investigators, "I was in his room cleaning up, putting some things away."
So we have the car towed back to the address, and of course with the battery being wet, nothing was operating. And so my husband was cleaning out the car because he was going to take it into Scotty's.
And he has a Rubbermaid container in his closet. And so I just kind of started digging through. And I saw a plastic bag, and I was like, what in the world is this? I picked it up, and it was heavy. And I held it in my hands, maggots covering it. I took it to the sink. It was double bagged, so I opened the first bag, and I didn't open the second bag. I called Cohee's father and said, "You need to get over here right now."
And I opened the glove box, and there was a knife in the glove box, underwater. The glove box is full of water. Very large knife.
His father reached home, and they called 911 to report this creepy discovery. The killer's parents also admitted to the dispatcher that their son had an interest in death and mortality. But his mom said she thought he was channeling it into becoming a crime scene investigator. Police also captured a dash cam footage featured in the documentary, which was shocking that Cohee confessed to the murder. Police asked him, "Your parents have concerns over some stuff they may have found in your room? What would that be?" Cohee casually replied to the police, "Yeah, I believe so. A human head and hands. From that fella that went missing. I murdered him with a knife."
Drive a 2007 Ford 500, and I keep a small 18-inch bat in there for self-defense and a large kitchen knife.
These statements shocked the police more, how he causally admitted to the crime.
Cooperate. I am going to cooperate.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
Now police have curiosity to know about the act of murder. Police asked that killer why he committed such a brutal crime.
And how did you get here?
I murdered someone.
Okay.
You will be token to know that. He normally replied to police at this question. I always wondered what murder would feel like. During the investigation, further details emerged as Cohee told the details of the night of the murder. He attempted to premeditate the murder for 6 months and targeted a homeless person, believing they would not be missed. The killer told the details of this murder. 27th of February night was a full moon, and I figured I could see so well, why not try it out? I was in a bad state of mind at that time. I had major depressive disorder. At that time, I was driving around and I see a shape and I'm like, oh, interesting. I like that as a homeless person. So I grabbed my knife. I put on 3 layers of gloves because plastic gloves can betray their users because they are so thin. I took the knife, pulled back the canvas, and stabbed his neck. He was panicking at first he was saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? And I just kept on stabbing his neck. He showed himself growling and making animalistic noises as he inflicted the wounds on the victim. Cohee then provided nauseating details of how he dismembered the body of his victim. He also followed by an apologetic remark, "Sorry, that's morbid." He was directed at the investigators. Cohee appeared so excited while telling the story of his crime to the investigators. He seemed like he recounted the murder to relish the memory. However, despite pleading insanity, Cohee was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of bail last year for having been found guilty of first-degree murder. Additionally, he was convicted on 2 counts of tampering with a dead body and tampering with evidence. A TikTok video went viral that was captured in the dashcam footage. An officer asked Brian Cohee Jr. if he might know what his parents discovered in his room that they found so upsetting. "A human head and hands. From that fella that went missing," Cohee Jr. responds dispassionately. "I murdered him with a knife." Cohee Jr.'s calmly admitting what he's done tests the limits of believability. The friends and relatives of the victim crowded into a Grand Junction courtroom Monday morning to witness the sentencing of his murderer, a young boy who told investigators he selected a homeless victim because no one would notice his disappearance. The victim was Warren Barnes, who was known around downtown Grand Junction as the Reading Man, because he often sat behind a bridal shop absorbed in paperbacks when he was not helping store owners move boxes or doing odd jobs through a temporary agency. Monique Lanotti, the owner of the bridal shop, gave a statement. "He was valued, he was loved. He is missed every single day." The victim's friends and family first realized he had been the prey of a crime when he did not show up in his usual spot one day in late February 2021. They soon come to know that Brian Cohee had admitted to murdering and dismembering Barnes the night before he went missing. The killer attacks Barnesby when he slept under a bridge just blocks from downtown. He brutally stabbed Barnes in the neck, then he dismembered Barnes's body and even stored Barnes's severed head and hands in his closet. After finding a human head in her son's closet, Terry kept an eye on her son that just arrived home. But Cohee might realize that his mother Terry knew what he did. He might investigate and find what's in the kitchen sink. Underneath a blue towel lay a decapitated head and a pair of hacked-off hands. However, Cohee was identified as the suspect after his mother found parts of Barnes's body in a bag in her son's closet. 21st Judicial District Judge Richard Gurley on Monday sentenced Cohee to life in prison without parole, the mandatory penalty for first-degree murder in Colorado. At this hearing, Cohee had no emotion or guilt about what he did with the victim, as Barnes's friends and relatives filed up to the podium to speak about the lingering pain from the brutal murder of a man. They described him as selfless, gentle, and kind, a man who asked for nothing from others beyond a place to sit and read. Cohee was also sat stone-faced, as his mother, Terry Cohee, was crying and shaking while describing her son as a young boy with mental abnormalities who always knew he was not like other people. Cohee's nickname in middle school was Dahmer, for the infamous killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who has been diagnosed with a major depressive disorder, ADHD, and an autistic spectrum disorder. His mother also told the court she has been trying for the victim and his family for the past 2 years. Geraldine Shipp is Barnes's 8 siblings. She also said that she still has nightmares about the way her brother was brutally killed a day after he had phoned her to wish her happy birthday. The victim's sister told the court he was a man of honor, a man of integrity, a man loved by community and family. Barnes decided to live outside, but family members and friends stressed that he counted. They also mentioned that he had no history of teasing or begging strangers. When someone wished him a nice day, he softly replied, "And you also." Barnes was a kind-hearted person, as shared his daily Subway sandwiches with the birds that would gather around his scuffed boots. Barnes also would help anyone who needed anything, as the defendant, Barnes's cousin Joanne Barnes Graham, also said in court Monday. He was not a throwaway person. Where Barnes used to sit in the breezeway, a memorial sculpture was placed. It is a metal version of his chair with a stack of books etched with the titles of some of his favorite westerns. An inscription on the back of one of the books reads, "And you also." Friends tributed to Barnes that was installed on November 2021 by the artist and ironworker Tim Navin, who included a book inscribed with, "And you also," which is what Barnes always said when people wish him to have a good day. It is believed that the boy wanted to be a serial killer because he first achieved his first goal of murder, but fortunately, the killer was caught earlier. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos. Goodbye for now.